Okay, this video is continuous for the digestive system. So here now we are going to discuss digestion takes place in which parts of the alimentary canal and what type of food is digested in which place of the alimentary canal and which enzyme plays an important role. So very important for exam point of view also, right now. So first, digestion at a buccal cavity. Buccal cavity or oral cavity or so, of course, buccal cavity or oral cavity which is a place between the upper jaw and lower jaw. In the buccal cavity, we have different type of teeth, tongue, jaws. With the help of teeth, tongue and jaws, we are grinding, chewing and biting the food. So while we are grinding the food, inside the buccal cavity, we have three pairs of salivary glands. They secrete saliva. Now saliva is mixed with the food with the help of teeth and tongue. Finally, we are grinding. Finally, a smooth type of food is formed known as bolus. So, due to mastication inside the buccal cavity with the help of teeth, the tongue and jaw by using saliva, finally bolus is formed. And of course, in the buccal cavity itself, digestion process has been started. And as we know, the salivary glands inside the buccal cavity, they secrete saliva which contains an enzyme known as ptyalin or salivary amylase. Now, ptyalin or salivary amylase which breaks the carbohydrates into maltose sugars. Means in the buccal cavity, carbohydrates are partially digested into maltose sugar with the help of an enzyme known as ptyalin or salivary amylase produced by salivary glands. Means at buccal cavity, only carbohydrates are partially digested. Finally, bolus is formed. So due to ptyalin or salivary amylase, carbohydrates are partially digested into maltose sugar. Finally, we have the smooth food is formed in the buccal cavity known as bolus, which is swallowed now. Now the bolus is traveling through the esophagus by having the peristaltic movements. So in the esophagus, due to the contractions and relaxations of the muscles of the esophagus, here we have a wave-like movement known as peristalsis. Due to peristaltic movements only, bolus easily transported enters into stomach now. Now, digestion at the stomach. Stomach is a huge sac-like structure present in the left side of the abdominal cavity, which is a big sac. Inside the stomach walls, we have the huge amount of mucous membrane. And again, stomach walls also made by different type of muscle cells. So due to the contractions and relaxations of the muscle cells in the stomach has to play different type of roles in the digestion process. For example, stomach acts as a storeroom temporarily. Now due to the contractions in the stomach, the food is completely mixed with different type of digestive juices. And again, due to contraction, the food is converted into small particles. Means stomach has to play different type of roles in the digestion. And of course, in the stomach, we have small, huge amount of glands are there known as gastric glands. Gastric glands secrete gastric juice. Now the gastric juice contains mostly two type of chemicals. They are hydrochloric acid and pepsin enzyme. I repeat, in the stomach, gastric glands secrete gastric juice. Gastric juice is very important for digestion, which contains hydrochloric acid and an enzyme pepsin. Hydrochloric acid is very important for the alkaline food enters into stomach. The food has been modified into acidic in form. Why? Because pepsin and enzyme can act only at the acidic nature only. That is why the alkaline food due to the saliva, now enters into stomach. Now the food has to be converted into acidic in form, which work is done by hydrochloric acid. The second role, whatever the living organisms like bacteria, any type of living organism is present in the food which is killed by hydrochloric acid. So hydrochloric acid has to play two important roles. Role number one, the alkaline food is modified into acidic in form for the digestion of the proteins by the action of pepsin and enzyme. The second important work is if any bacterium or any microorganisms are present in the food, they will be killed by hydrochloric acid. And again, the gastric juice contains an important enzyme known as pepsin. Now pepsin is an important enzyme, works or acts on proteins and partially digested into peptones. So due to action of pepsin, now proteins are converted into peptones, means a partial digestion of the proteins taking place in the digestive system. Until then, the food cannot be allowed into the lower parts by collapsing the structure known as pyloric sphincter. So due to the closeness of the pyloric sphincter, different type of actions are going on in the stomach. Finally, very semi-solid food is formed known as chyme. Now the chyme, after the action of hydrochloric acid, after the partial digestion of the proteins into peptones by the action of pepsin, now the small amount of chyme enters into duodenum with the help of pyloric sphincter. When the pyloric sphincter relaxes, small amount of chyme enters into now duodenum. Now the duodenum attached with the two important glands in our digestive system. They are liver and pancreas. Liver is the largest gland of the body, which is made by hepatocytes. Now the liver cells secrete a juice known as bile juice. Finally, the bile juice collected and stored in the gallbladder, where bile juice gets concentrated. Finally, bile juice enters into duodenum. And again, here we are remember important thing is bile juice doesn't contain any type of enzyme. Though the bile juice has no any enzyme, which is so important for the digestion of lipids. Why? Because due to bile juice only, large fat particles are converted into small globules with the help of bile juice, known as emulsification of fats. Listen to me. The largest gland in the body known as liver, the juice which is given by liver known as bile juice. Bile juice doesn't have any type of enzyme, though it is so important for digestion because bile juice breaks the huge fat particles into small globules. So conversion of large fats into small globules by the action of bile juice is known as emulsification of fats. So due to bile juice, bile salts, bile pigments, finally emulsification of fats taking place in the duodenum due to the action of bile juice. Then we have one more important gland known as pancreas. Pancreas, important gland for digestion, which secrete pancreatic juice. Now the pancreatic juice again enters into duodenum, which contains mostly three types of enzymes which are important for digestion of food at duodenum. They are amylase, trypsin and lipase. Amylase is an enzyme very important to convert the carbohydrates into maltose at the duodenum. Duodenum is the first part of the small intestine. So in the duodenum, due to the liver and pancreas, huge amount of digestion is going on. So here, due to pancreas, now here we have the three type of enzymes are there. They are amylase, trypsin and lipase. Now in the duodenum, carbohydrates are partially digested into maltose sugar by the action of amylase, which is pancreatic amylase. And again, Proteins are partially digested into peptones by the action of trypsin. Trypsin, a type of enzyme from the pancreatic juice. And again, fats are digested into fatty acids and glycerols by the lipase. So, pancreatic juice contains three type of enzymes. So, carbohydrates are partially digested into maltose by the action of pancreatic amylase. Proteins are partially digested peptones by the action of trypsin, a part of the pancreatic juice. And fats are modified into fatty acids and glycerols by the action of lipase, a part of pancreatic juice. Finally, the food enters into the second part of the small intestine, which is a long coiled pipe approximately 7.5 meters in length. Now inside the small intestine, we have a huge amount of mucous membrane and huge amount of intestinal glands also there. Now the intestinal glands secrete intestinal juice or succus entericus. Now intestinal juice contains different type of enzymes, and in the small intestine the digestion process will be completely over. So in the small intestine, now all the carbohydrates and various forms of the carbohydrates are completely digested into glucose by the action of amylase, glucose, lactase, sucrase, galactase, ribase. Means due to various enzymes in the small intestine, carbohydrates are completely digested into glucose. And again, due to peptidase and other enzymes, proteins are completely digested into amino acids. Due to various enzymes, now fats are completely digested into fatty acids and glycerols. Finally, in the small intestine, digestion process is completed. Due to various enzymes, carbohydrates are completely digested into glucose. Proteins are completely digested into amino acids. Fats or lipids are completely digested into fatty acids and glycerols. Finally, digestion process is completed in the small intestine. After digestion, in the small intestine, I told you huge number of finger-like projections also there. They are known as microvilli. So from the small intestine, from the surface, from the digestive food items, important nutrients are absorbed into bloodstream, known as absorption. After the absorption, the unwanted poisonous waste metals now enters into large intestine. While the waste metals are moving along the large intestine, some more amount of water reabsorbed into the body. Finally, the waste materials enters into rectum, which is a temporary storeroom. Finally, the waste material, unwanted material, undigested material will be expelled out through the anus, known as defecation. Here we have a complete digestion process in the digestive system. Okay, in the buccal cavity, due to ptyalin, which is a part of the saliva, now carbohydrates are partially digested and converted into maltose sugar. Now the bolus is moving to the esophagus through peristaltic movements. Finally enters into stomach, a big sac which has to play different roles in the digestion. Now the gastric glands, which consist of two type of chemicals, hydrochloric acid and pepsin. Hydrochloric acid is very important to kill the germs as well as change the environment into acidic in form. Finally, pepsin, an enzyme, breaks proteins into peptones, a partial digestion of the proteins in the stomach. And between the stomach and duodenum, we have a elastic structure known as pyloric sphincter. Now, of the pyloric sphincter, now chyme enters into duodenum. Here we have two important glands known as liver and pancreas. Liver secretes bile juice, which is very important for the conversion of big fats into smaller globules, known as emulsification of fats. Though the bile juice doesn't have any type of enzyme which is so important for the emulsification of fats. Then the pancreatic juice contains amylase, trypsin, lipase, carbohydrates and maltose are converted into again maltose by amylase, which is pancreatic amylase. Trypsin converts proteins into peptones. Lipase converts fats into fatty acids. Finally, the food enters into the small intestine. Here, due to various enzymes, the digestion process is completed. Finally, carbohydrates are modified into glucose. Proteins are converted into amino acids. Fats are converted into fatty acids. Now, from the small intestine, important nutrients are absorbed into the blood through the microvilli, finger-like projections inside the small intestine. Then unwanted material moves through the large intestine. Finally, it will be sent outside through the anus, known as defecation. So very important lesson. First we have to practice the diagram. We have to label the diagram, and as well as we have to know different parts, their location and their importance, and what type of digestive glands are there, and what are their enzymes, and which enzyme works on what type of food. So when we have a flow chart, a diagram, a process completely, a process of study which is helpful for the easy understanding as well as to write proper in examination for getting good marks. Okay, thank you.